Yeah, well, the texts are on fire. Eddie has text to say, read Drew Pavlu, the Prime Minister's gone AWL on this Queensland University issue. He should withdraw funding and let the uni plead its case in court. Dorothy says, re-apprenticeships, allow kids to leave school at the end of year 10 and make them more practical and less theory. They're good comments. We're keeping them at school for too long, I have to say. Look, let's take a drive, a leisurely drive out to the Workers' Cottage and the smiling and sartorial G. Richardson. G. Richardson, good evening to you.
Good evening, Sir Alan. How are you?
I want to ask you just a quick one about this Republican convention. I'm wondering if you saw the girlfriend of Donald Trump Jr., Kimberly Guilfoyle, a former Fox News host. She's leading the Republican Party's fundraising team, and she spoke at the convention and bashed up the Democrats. Richo, listen to this.
They want to steal your liberty, your freedom. They want to control what you see and think and believe so that they can control how you live.
What do you make of that, Richo?
Tough stuff. I think she's worth powder and shot. I've got to say though, those conventions are funny, aren't they? They really are. It's all, the script is just incredible. No one is allowed to depart from the script for a second. Both sides are exactly the same. I think it's a shame that you get thousands of people together in a room and you don't let them think. All they're allowed to do is follow the line.
Absolutely. Now, listen, talking about follow the line, the Premier and the Police Commissioner of New South Wales claimed yesterday the other was responsible for contracting security guards for hotel quarantine after more than 300 guests, I might add, had been booted out of a budget hotel after New South Wales Police ruled it unfit for quarantine purposes. What do you make of this, Richo? Who's right, who's wrong? The Commissioner or Gladys Berejiklian?
Well, I mean, I don't think any of us know except the two of them. They're the only two who are party to the conversation. I mean, I've got to say, I've always found Fuller to be a very forthright, decent man.
I agree.
And he's not a politician, so the money's on him being right.
Yeah. I mean, he said...
Polly is gilding the lily, isn't it?
Absolutely. He said, and I quote him, government has the responsibility of hiring the security companies who provide guards for the operation. So you'd imagine that they'd have to be trained before he took charge of them.
You'd think, but something went horribly wrong. And I don't think that Berejiklian is going to accept responsibility, so it will remain a question between the two of them. But as I said, I think most people will take the word of the Commissioner over a politician, any politician. That's not being particularly critical of Berejiklian.
She was asked what training these guards received before starting work in quarantine. She said, I'll have to get that advice from the police. Mick Fuller said, well, hang on. In terms of the training for security guards, that's a matter for the government departments who hired them. Graham, a bit hard to sort of argue against that.
No, I think that Phil is dead right. It's obviously not the responsibility of the police to train them. That's absurd. So I would have thought that it's Fuller 1, Berejiklian 0 at this point.
Just a quick one before you go. This Victorian inquiry has heard that almost all of Victoria's current COVID infections are linked to the hotel breach. I mean, it just makes you wonder whether they know what they're doing anywhere in terms of those people who are the guards in quarantine.
Well, I don't know about these guards. I think that's the wrong word. These people are sometime attendees at the hotel, and apparently there's nothing rigid about either their hours or their structure. So I think we should be taking with a grain of salt a lot of the stuff that's said about them. I think when the crunch comes, the only people you can rely on are the police and the army. Yeah, they're the ones who are trained and paid to do it.
Good on you. Good on you, Richo. You're looking well and always lovely to talk to you. Smile on your face and we'll see you next week, eh?
Very, Alan.
Isn't he wonderful? It is, yeah, Richo. We always see him on Wednesday night.